right, welcome back to the Attack the Rack YouTube channel. This is the Attack the Rack podcast. We are back again. We got Big Mo, we got Trent, we got myself. Hey, if you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Attack the Rack YouTube channel, please click subscribe. It takes you half a second. It's free for you, but it really does help us grow our channel and get our content out into the world. Like the video, leave us a comment, share it with a friend. And if you are looking to sponsor anything we're doing, you can email us at attacktherack3333@gmail.com. You can email us with any other also comments, questions, or concerns. Guys, we are less than 2 weeks now away from Selection Sunday. Huge, huge day. One of the biggest days in American sports, especially in the world of basketball. Before we get into some college hoops, I do want to just get into a little NBA here. Last week on, I think it was Wednesday's episode, we were talking about, hey, are teams like the Thunder and the Cavs, are they for real? Or are they just kind of young, naive, and are playing hard, taking the regular season super serious, where some of these other teams are, maybe more talented. They got more veteran players who aren't necessarily too concerned with the regular season, maybe are not putting forth full effort in the regular season, which is why we maybe see a team like Cleveland and Oklahoma City dominating the standings. And then just 2 nights later, Friday night, actually, I was with Trent. We were at Big Mo. We were at your game Friday night, but I'm keeping tabs on my phone on scores, and I notice that the Celtics are playing the Cavs, and they get off to a 25-3 lead. So Boston, being a team, kind of like we were talking about, veteran team, and they're having a great season, don't get me wrong, but they're what, 7 or 8 games behind Cleveland.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking, wow, were they watching the Attack the Rack podcast? Did they want to prove us wrong? And then they end up losing the game 123-116. Cleveland.
Celtics lost.
Yes, they're
Oh,
up 25-3. I think Tatum, did he have like 30 points in the first half?
holy
Correct.
smokes. And they lost.
But that's so typical of the NBA. I mean, you see 20-point swings back and forth all the time in the NBA.
Yeah, that is true. Some teams can get hot, and then other teams can score like 13 points in a quarter, and the other team scores like 40. And it's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
thought you were winning the game, but yeah, they must have been listening.
Yeah. I was like, the Celtics are trying to prove us wrong. And then ended up not working out so well for them. So I thought that was pretty crazy.
That is. Those
Well,
leads.
just goes to show. I mean, that's it. I mean, obviously, I think it says, hey, Cleveland is for real.
Yeah, I think that's
They
they
can go on
kind
the
of
road now. Can they win 7? Can they win 4 out of 7? I don't know. I guess it'd be 4 out of 5 maybe, or 3 out of 5.
No, I think well, by the time they would see the Celtics, it'd be 7 games for sure.
Okay, all right. I was making sure I was thinking about that, right? So, no, yeah, hey, that is. I mean, that is the NBA. I mean, how many times have you watched this big blowout first quarter, but by the time in the game, it's close again?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's skill or just how long the games are. I mean, you pretty much have an extra quarter compared to most sporting events with the timing of a college, high school. You're really playing 48 minutes compared to 40 or 32.
hmm
True. Yeah, and then you see like some of the game lines are like 5.5 or 6.5, and the one team's up 30 at halftime. And then either it gets to like 40 and stays there, or it's a comeback for the other
Yeah.
team. There's not really like the teams losing by like 18. I feel like it's like a massive blowout, or they keep it close and cover the spread.
Yeah, NBA, it's frustrating and they've been, I think over the last several years now, they've been taking a lot of heat from fans, from media, just over a number of things. Just, and I think the hot topic now is the load management stuff, um, and the lack of effort we see in All-Star games. And I think that the heat they're taking now is at an all-time high. Did you see LeBron's quote that kind of combated the the heat that the NBA is taking?
No, what do you say?
All right. Well, I'll read the quote and then get your take. He says, okay, in reference to him being the face of the league, he says, "Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis, bleep on everybody?"
Hmm. Um, yeah, I mean, he's been the face of the league for what, 20 plus years.
Yeah, 22 years, 23 years.
Uh, I mean, ESPN is kind of watered down in a way, but if they didn't sit out all the time, then there wouldn't be any problems, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's not as entertaining to watch. And
No,
it's harder to keep people engaged when it's just kind of not great. I don't know. NBA is in a weird spot. They're in a very weird spot.
I mean, you got to somewhat agree with LeBron, even though I'm not a LeBron fan, but you got to agree a little bit with his take. I think his reasoning with how negative the media is. Um, I mean, I think they're always just searching for the story. What's the best story? Something probably negative.
Yeah.
Um, so why would you want to be kind of the face of the league? Now he has been the face, and I don't know if he doesn't realize that, I don't know. But why would anybody else want to go through that? When it's always going to be now again, some of that's brought on by LeBron himself and others, with the questioning of maybe how they play or how hard they play. But I can semi agree, which I why would Ant Edwards want to be the next face of this league?
True. Yeah, if he's just going to get ripped to shreds every night.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not about. I mean, I forget. I was just watching something that maybe it was an old Pistons thing where I just was watching something where it had highlights of ESPN just talking about the highlights of the game, and it was gosh, it had something to do with Lambeer and Barkley and the Pistons going back to Philadelphia after they had traded Mahorn to them,
yeah.
and they weren't going to be the bad boys anymore. And I don't know where I saw this story at, but before the fight broke out between like Lambeer, Barkley, Mahorn, Rodman, there it was like an ESPN highlight, like, hey, watch this play by this guy. Here's the next play by this guy. Then Barkley with a dunk, and then boom, then it led into the fiasco of a fight. But like, I mean, when's the last time you turned into ESPN and like watched highlights?
Yeah.
True.
That's
I
fair.
mean, it's all opinion based. Got to pull the negative out of the story. There hardly isn't. I mean, once in a while they give you the feel good story that usually is not directly connected to the major sport that it's playing.
Yeah. And you used to be able to, I used to like look forward to watching highlights. Like you turn it on and you get your top 10, your not top 10, and then you get all the game highlights from every sport. And that was like their episode.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now it's all these segment shows and they're all crap because
yeah,
no one's trying to listen to Stephen A on 5 different shows. So,
exactly.
yeah, I agree with you.
You
They
know,
should just go back to what worked.
And two, remember, now they maybe pick a handful of the games and maybe do a 25-second highlight, and then they just kind of show the score in the corner and a couple of the leading scorers. It used to be like like 60-second highlight of every game, and then it cuts away to a screen that shows like a bunch of the stats.
yeah.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
corner scores and leading rebounders, leading assists, leading scorers, a bunch of different stats too. And it's
And they
almost
would show like the games that maybe people aren't as interested in.
yeah,
Like they're
they
showing
show all the
highlights
games.
of
Yeah.
so like if the NBA has 7 games on, and 2 of them are like big time matchups, like the ones like 2 better teams. People are going to watch it on TV anyways. So like for to only show those highlights after the game is kind of pointless because it's like most people just watch those and they'd like to see some other games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
go ahead, Big
oh,
Mel.
well, I was gonna say, I think, I mean, and I don't know what the answer is. You probably can't go back and do it the same way because of social media. There's just so much information out there. So whatever they've been doing, I don't think is working. So they better find a different platform to make it work because it's not helping the NBA and it's probably not helping ESPN.
Well, I mean, when I see all this negative talk about the NBA, I as annoying as it is to see them sit and talk about it all day long, I'd rather see highlights. They're not wrong. Everything they're saying is true. Um, these guys are, with the load management stuff especially. And if I'm LeBron James or I'm an NBA player and all the fans feel this way, all the media feels this way, I would say, well, maybe we need to change then and change this narrative and care about the games more and play hard and play every night. To me, just this quote by LeBron is just another LeBron victimhood mentality, poor me. Um, and if he doesn't like it, then change it. Change the narrative. Play every night. Play hard. Care about the regular season. Care about the All-Star game.
Yeah, show other highlights than just LeBron's games.
Yeah.
Like people, I mean, I personally don't care about LeBron anymore. I feel like it's just so overdue, like for him to just get out of the league. And there's been superstars in the league for the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years that haven't gotten like the appreciation that they should get. And I think that's part of it as well, is that they're so focused on LeBron
Very
that
watered down.
like like all the other superstars just get swept under the rug. Because like every night they should be talking about like Wemby and Tatum and Cade Cunningham and Ja Morant and all these young superstars that have been great since they got in the league, and they just don't get any TV time because it's all about, oh, LeBron's played the most minutes. Oh, LeBron is 40 and still getting buckets. Like we get it. Like we already know that. So it'd be nice to see some other guys get some highlights as well.
Yeah, and Steph Curry too. It's LeBron and Steph Curry. That seems to be 90% of what they talk about. In fact, the morning after Curry had his 56-point game last week, maybe it was Friday morning, I was over at the gym and they've got, 10 TVs and a couple of them have ESPN on. And I was paying attention and they're doing this it was the morning show Get Up with Greeny and I'm not sure who else is even on the show. And they were talking about Steph Curry's 56-point game. And literally 20 minutes later, they had circled back and were repeating that entire segment. 20 minutes later, showed the clips of him hitting all those three pointers and then sitting there and talk about it, whatever the headline at the bottom of the screen, word for word, exactly what they had talked about literally just 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah, and I'm sure they can find another 20, 25 minutes of stuff that they can talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Like baseball just started, hockey's going, college baseball just started, college basketball is right in the meat of the season. I think there's plenty of stuff that they can hit on. Or why don't they could spend a whole segment talking about bubble teams in the NCAA tournament,
Yeah.
and kind of like recap their seasons. Or I just feel like it's all regurgitated stuff that people don't really care about anymore because it's been the same thing we've watched for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. And then I'm sure then the next show, and then the next show, and then the next show, all day long, talking about the same couple of things all day long.
Yeah, it would get boring after a while having that, I think.
Well, that's why I think some of these. I mean, again, it's just like it's just like it's like a podcast, right? I mean, they're they're talking about the same thing over and over again. That's why I really think some of these. I'm seeing some of these podcasts bringing on like old players talking about stories is almost like more entertaining than
Very
the
much.
highlights of currently what's going on.
Yeah.
Because there was no social media back then. Now you get some of these inside looks at um the NBA, especially probably like these stories. I listened to one last night with Vernon Maxwell
Yeah.
was on with oh man, Steven
Steven Jackson and
Steven
Matt.
Jackson. Yeah, yep. Talking about like the Jazz and talking about Stockton and Malone and Hornacek and you know someone like me, that's perfect. I want to know because you didn't get all that inside info before. Now
True.
you do. I mean, I'd rather listen to that than watch these morning shows getting a hit on the same thing over and over again. And there's no, again, usually it's it's stuff that's regurgitated. So
I like watching the ones with Jason Williams telling his stories.
Yeah.
That guy's a character. He was talking. Did you see the one where he was talking about he was like in a rec league or something, and they were winning by so much he started scoring on the other team's basket, and then the other team got mad that he was scoring on the other team's basket, and then it was like an and 1-3 on the wrong basket, and he was like, for all the refs out there, he's like, "What hoop do you shoot the free throw on?" So he was like talking about that.
That's a
'Cause I
great
guess-
question.
Essentially, you should shoot the free throw on your own basket, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But you shot the and 1-3 on the wrong hoop. Yeah, I don't know.
well, the other team would get the three, and you would get a chance to
And
get the
you
one.
get the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, got to be.
yeah.
Maybe you can get Ref Rob to clear that up, Kurt.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to get back in touch with him. I haven't heard from him now in a few weeks. I figured he's getting busy repping during the season. Hopefully we can get him on after the season.
You better hurry up before the AU starts.
That's true. Jeez. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, guys, like we said, we are 10-ish days away from Selection Sunday. Still a lot of basketball to be played. I'm pretty sure some of the mid-major conferences and some of the smaller conferences later this week are going to already have their conference tournaments. And then early next week, middle of next week will be all the big time conference tournaments heading into next Sunday, Selection Sunday. Here in the Midwest, Big Ten country, couple of really, really big games on Sunday afternoon. Michigan and Michigan State went into Sunday's games tied for first place. Michigan laid a dud against Illinois at home. Unranked Illinois lost by 20 points. Michigan has 2 regular season games left. They've got number 13 Maryland coming to town, and then they got to go to the Breslin, Michigan State, to finish out the season. Michigan now ranked number 17 in the country, probably looking at 4 or 5 seed currently, with a couple of tough games to go.
Yeah, the old blue didn't play very well yesterday.
No, it was ugly.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a third or a fourth guy that can contribute. The 2 7-footers can't do it all.
Well, Danny Wolf didn't do anything. 9 points and 5 turnovers.
Oh, yeah, he's got to be better.
And then I'm looking up the box score right now. They were horrible rebounding.
Yeah, they gave up like 20 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking up right now.
Yeah. I know at one point it was 18, but I think it got up to 20.
Yeah, 19. They gave up 19 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that's a lot. Not a good formula to win a game, that's for sure.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, and now, I mean, let's say they do lose to Maryland. Let's say they do lose to Michigan State. that could drop them down. I would think if they're probably a 4 or 5 now, a couple more losses. Obviously depending on how deep into the Big Ten tournament they go, but they could be looking at a 7 seed if they lose those games, possibly 6 or 7 seed.
ESPN currently has them at a 4,
Okay.
but yeah, maybe a 6. Let's see. They have Marquette at a 6, and they're 20th.
Okay.
So yeah, probably somewhere around there, 5 or 6 if they lose.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. I mean, if you're at one point in the season, people were talking about them being a Final Four contender. Final Four team doesn't lose this time of year at home to an unranked team by 20 points.
Yeah, but Illinois has had one of their studs has been out most of the year, hasn't he? Or been injured or sick or something like that, or
That point guard ish, 2-ish,
uh,
the playmaker guy, who was it? He was good.
The guy with the longer hair,
He was good. Yeah, it was.
yeah. And they Illinois shot it well. Michigan did not. That fourth game in 10 days. I think it was one of those things. It's a bad loss, but in the end, you know what? If they go to Sparty country, keep it close or win, that loss kind of erases itself. And then you still got the Big Ten tournament. I mean, so there's so many games in college basketball, and I mean, I heard it's just crazy to think that was it Kentucky's coach Pope say he wants 40 games.
Oh.
Yeah, 40.
I mean,
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
they played, what, 30?
if you make it all the way to the championship game, play 6 more games in the tournament, and if you make a deep run in your conference tournament, you're almost playing 40 already. Or does he want but he wants 40.
40 regular season games.
You're looking at close to 50 if you make it all the way to the championship.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
nuts.
right now, I mean, it's crazy as it is. I mean, I get it. It is. I mean, but again, I don't know. It's who I mean, think about the NBA's got what? How many games? 72,
82.
82.
82. I mean, you want to almost half of that, and the NBA season's already way too long.
Well, and then the NBA, if you go to the NBA finals,
Yeah,
you're playing depending on how long your season series go, you're looking at a great possibility of playing 100 games.
yeah. And how many? I mean, how long is that season?
Oh, too long.
Yeah.
And they play like two, almost 3 games a week, maybe.
Yeah. 3 games.
Yeah. But if you told me I made $100 million to do it,
Oh yeah, that's. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it for that type of money, but hey,
it is a lot of games though.
It
there's
just
a lot of
gets
games.
so watered
So,
down.
so it's a bad loss for Michigan. I know we got off topic there, but I truly they didn't play well. Illinois played great. Kind of a recipe for a disaster, there because of how you played versus how they played. If I'm uh, if I'm Coach May, you throw it out the window a little bit, and you finish strong here, and then that game's forgotten.
Oh, I just saw it. I just realized Illinois scored 62 points in the second half.
Yeah. Is that
Dude, even their bench couldn't miss.
Yeah, their bench was that. Who's that white dude? That white dude came in with the ponytail. He was raining threes. Who was
Was
Yeah.
that the Canadian? Was that the Canadian?
that? Let's see if I can find him. No, shoot. What was that dude's name from 3 of 8? Ben. No, I don't know who it is. They got a lot of white guys.
Well, one of those guys has started for 3 different teams, Division One,
wow.
over the last 3 years. It was like I forget the other 2 schools he was at, but he was a starter at 3 different major colleges.
Wonder where it'll be next year.
Yeah, exactly.
What a career.
Yeah, I mean, you have no idea.
Yeah.
True. No clue.
But that's what it is. I mean, it's like Patino talking last week about only recruiting. Doesn't need to recruit any high school kids this year
Yeah.
because he's got to replace some studs. So your best option is to go out and find some
Yeah.
transfer guys.
He did make a good point by it makes sense.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
why go get high school guys when we need to replace them with studs?
Yeah.
And like the high school guys aren't going to be studs right away.
No, and I think he said. I mean, they had two freshmen this year who were. I think they went out. I mean, I think he had two high school kid freshman type guys on the squad this year. But again, you're replacing contributors.
All right.
So either you have big faith that your bench can contribute next year, or you go out and you got to find your next starters.
Yeah.
Did you see Cam Newton's take on Patino's quote about not recruiting high school kids this year?
He started talking, and I just kept moving.
Yeah,
I
I was
kept
gonna
it
say,
moving.
I did the
He's
same
a
thing.
moron. What'd you say?
I did the same thing. He started talking about it, and I think I turned the channel.
Yeah.
Such a moron. He said, "Well, kids. This just goes to show that coaches don't really care about you."
No,
It's not nothing to do with it. Because he needs studs that played 34 games this year to come in and play 34 games next year.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a project kid that you never know. It's no.
Speaking of St. John's, though, they won again on, what was it Saturday? Saturday. I think it was Saturday. So they bumped up to number 6 in the country, possibly maybe a number 1 seed. They got a great shot of winning their conference tournament, certainly. So maybe we'll see the St. John Rick Pitino squad in the as the number 1 seed. We will see. But also in the Big Ten, fellas, Michigan State got a really nice win. They beat number 11 Wisconsin at home by I think 9. They built up a lead early in the first half and never looked back.
Yeah, State's tough. When they're making shots, they are tough.
Yeah. I mean, down. What were they down? 7-9 at halftime, something like that. Because they were down, right?
I think they were down early. I think they by halftime they had a nice little lead. I think.
They were down 2 at half.
Oh, down 2 at half.
Okay.
They outscored Wisconsin 39-28 in the second half.
Yeah.
28. That's pretty good defense.
Really good.
Yeah, really good defense.
Yeah. Yeah, like
They've been.
I think that's again, you're playing a lot of guys. You're wearing them down a little bit. I don't know if that completely will. What's that? What's the word I'm looking for, Kurt? If that works as well. If that works as well in the tournament.
Oh,
Even though you're playing on shorter time, the rest is good. I think again the teams that succeed there just have some studs. Now I will say Atkins was good in the first half for Michigan State yesterday. Was it Atkins?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean he kept them in it in the first half the way he shot the ball. But their defense just kind of like wears you down, I think, right now.
yeah. And obviously that can be a formula for success in the tournament, but also and coaching can be obviously success in the tournament. But one thing they are kind of lacking is a couple of stud players that you can totally rely on.
Yeah, I think it's that consistent scoring because as soon as you don't have, if your defense is going to probably travel with you, the coaching is going to travel with you. How well you play offensively can depend on the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michigan State was 9 of 27 from 3, and Wisconsin was 5 of 32 from 3.
Well,
their worst performance all year long, I think.
From 3?
Yeah.
Or just in general?
From 3.
I mean, 15.6%.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, that's not good.
Just think if they would have,
and you only lose by 9.
Yeah, just think if they would have on a handful of those possessions, they just would have got a layup instead, or went to the free throw line instead, and made a couple free throws.
Yeah, because Wisconsin was 13 of 16 from the line, and Michigan State was 6 of 13.
Oof.
That was another thing. Michigan only went to the line, I think, 3 times in the whole first half.
Yeah, you got to get to the free throw line.
Yep.
Gotta.
Make your free throws.
That's right.
All right. Anything else, guys, college basketball wise?
No, but did you see the Duke point guard from Virginia, he's in the NBA, Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
Did you see his comments about the officiating?
Oh.
He called the chick out by name. I think her name was Natalie. He said Natalie was awful. He said, what did he say? The first half was, he said, like, the first half was terrible and the third quarter was horrendous. And he's like, but you got to be able to overcome the officials.
So does that one little line there at the end save him from a fine or no?
No, because he called the chick out by name. So I think
You're probably not allowed to do that.
he's going to get the fine for sure.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty funny that Ty Jerome he must have had a big game because he's kind of just a regular Joe in the NBA.
Yeah.
Coming out and talking about the officiating.
Oh man, speaking of officiating and you wonder why, at least at the high school level, we have an officials shortage. Did you see the video of the high school ref here in Michigan?
Oh,
Crazy.
goodness.
Benton Harbor.
Benton Harbor, Buchanan, Benton Harbor loses. Fans are not happy. Poor official. So he's running over. He's trying to get the ball, get to the scores table. The ball comes from off screen. The ball's rolling towards the Benton Harbor bench. So I can only imagine it was a player, Benton Harbor player, coach.
I think it was like an assistant type coach from what I've seen so far.
And I guess you can't see him throw the ball, so you don't know if he was intentionally, at least the angle I saw. But
I will say, I mean, I'm not. He does throw it. You can see it in one of the
Okay.
angles I saw. They pinpoint who it is, and I mean, it's. I wouldn't say like he rifles it at the guy.
Yeah.
Um,
But he knew he wasn't looking.
Obviously inappropriate and way beyond like. I mean,
But it gets worse. So he throws the ball, hits him in the head. He kind of stumbles. Then fans start throwing stuff at him.
Like water bottles.
Something hits him in the head, which causes him to fall to the ground. I mean, I just felt so bad for this poor guy.
Yeah. And there's an older gentleman too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. People wonder
oh,
why you choose to not officiate. That's a fair.
that'd be one right there.
Yeah, that's a fair reason. It's like
Right.
a friggin' high school game.
Yeah.
Like they're throwing stuff at the refs. I mean, you would think they should press charges, yeah.
I hope
I think they're looking into it. I mean, I think they say. I mean, the last report I saw is they had some names, and they are still trying to like find some of the fans who threw stuff.
Okay.
No, I hope they do. I mean, you got to protect,
Plus, the gym's only got one exit, or what? They
Yeah,
escorted them out in front of the people who were throwing stuff at them. Like, you can't find a different door to go out of. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not a good look for, I guess, it's kind of West Michigan, but just not a good look for basketball.
No, and it's not going to encourage other people to get into officiating.
Not at all.
All right, so hey, top three guys. We mentioned I totally forgot last episode. We were going to do this one last episode. I totally forgot. It's going to be top three athletes whose careers were cut short. Whether it was by an injury, maybe other reasons, drug abuse, early retirement. The top three pro athletes who had a ton of potential and their career really didn't play out as predicted due to something out of their control. Well, I mean, if it's like a substance abuse thing, that's obviously their control. But we're not looking for guys that just ended up just weren't very good. We're looking for guys that were hurt, like I said, injuries shortened their season or their careers. So Trent, hit us with that wheel.
I have all NBA guys too, by the way.
Okay. There's a lot of NBA guys. I got a big list here. A lot of them are NBA.
Oh, I get first choice.
Oh,
Give me the one.
all right.
Number two. It's close. Curdy.
I will go last. I'll go third.
All right. I will start us off. Big Mo in the middle.
Yep. Big Mo sandwich.
All right. With the first pick Give me Derrick Rose.
Yep. Good.
MVP season, rookie year, blows out his ACL and just was never the same. He was about as dominant as it got from a guy just fresh out of college. It would have been sweet to see him have a healthy career. Yeah, give me D Rose.
Yeah, he probably would have went down as a top 10 player all time.
Yeah, he was fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, all right. I'm gonna just beat this so Kurt can't take this guy. Grant Hill.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I know he was on Kurt's list.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Even though
He's
So,
ankle injuries, right? Or what was
yeah.
it? Ankle?
I mean,
yeah,
a triple double waiting to happen. Like,
yes.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, probably not on. Maybe I got one. Go ahead, Kurt. What do you got next?
Well, I was just gonna say Grant Hill. I mean, even though he went to Duke, didn't like uh didn't like Duke back in those days. Obviously, big rivalry with the Fab Five. But drafted by the Pistons, played for the Pistons, became a fan, and um, man, I think we'd be talking about I think him in regards to who behind MJ, who's the best all time. I think we would literally he would be in the discussion with Kobe, LeBron.
I think the stat wise, definitely. Like he just padded the stat book.
Yes.
Um, he probably wouldn't have won a ton in Detroit, which probably would have hurt his legacy being again the type of player he was. But he was constantly a 20, 10, and 8 guy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so to wrap up round one, I'm gonna go with even despite his injury, cutting two different professional sports careers short. Some people already would still say he's the greatest athlete of all time, but definitely his NFL career and his Major League Baseball career cut way short because of a major hip injury, and that's Bo Jackson.
Yep.
As much as I'm a Barry Sanders fan, and Barry Sanders, in my opinion, best running back of all time, you never know. If Bo Jackson would have had a full career, we could have been talking about him as the best running back of all time, and possibly, I know he didn't hit for average that well in baseball, probably like a 265 guy. But again, he only played healthy. He still tried to come back and play baseball after his injury, but only played literally a couple of seasons with the Royals, and who knows, he could have ended up hitting for average as well, but probably would have went down as one of the best baseball players of all time as well. So that would be my first pick, third pick in round three. Kick off the second round. I'm going to go with, and I know Big Mo, this won't surprise you because and probably not even Trent either, because we've talked about this guy a couple times, but more so Big Mo and I, we used to talk about him on the podcast quite a bit last year, and that is Anthony Hardaway. Currently the head coach at Memphis, played at Memphis, drafted by the Golden State Warriors and traded on draft night for Chris Webber to the Orlando Magic. And those years that he had with the Magic before getting hurt, he was so good. Another one I think literally probably be a top 10, maybe even top five. That's probably a stretch. We won't know because he had way too many injuries. But he was one of the smoothest players that I've ever watched. So
Yeah, very very Grant Hillish. Maybe
yeah,
a little more dynamic to the hoop.
yeah, a little better shooter probably, but just so silky smooth.
Yeah, more magic.
Yeah.
Magic with a little jumper.
Yep. Yep. All right, back to you, Big Mo.
All right, I'm gonna go back to football, Kurt, since you did football basketball.
Sure.
I'm gonna bring it back to football and go Sterling Sharp.
Ooh.
Yes, I had him on my list. Yep.
Only played 7 seasons. I'm not sure he made it out of his 30s.
No. No.
Um, I think it was a neck injury. But I think him and Jerry Rice maybe still the only two receivers to win the Triple Crown.
Could be.
Yards,
Yeah,
yards, receptions, and touchdowns in a season to
very
lead the league.
well.
So don't quote me on that, but I believe that might be true. Um, yeah,
No, good pick. Good pick.
the better of the Sharp brothers.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Trent, you got two picks.
Yep. Give me Brandon Roy from the Portland Trailblazers. He was a scorer. He was like T-Mac-ish, I think. But I remember him just getting buckets, and then he tore up his knee a couple times, and that was about it for him.
Just kind of disappeared off the map.
But man, he was a bucket getter, and he could shoot it. And the Trailblazers weren't great, but he probably could have helped along the way. So yeah, give me Brandon Roy.
Yeah, I mean, he would have overlapped if he with Damian Lillard. Imagine those two guys
Yeah.
playing together for many years.
Yep.
Where I think Brandon Roy went to University of Washington, I think.
I think you're correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm up again, right?
Yeah, first pick, third
Yeah.
round.
I'm gonna. No,
Oh, tough decision. Tough decision.
it is because I have a present player in the NBA who I want to put in here,
Ooh,
Yeah, go
go ahead.
but also I have a good one that.
Well, we'll give honorable mentions after we're done. So
All right, I'll give the current player for honorable mention. Give me Greg Oden for the other one.
okay.
Dominant big at Ohio State.
Yeah, I had him on my list.
Then his foot fell off, so he was footless. Footless Greg Oden. So it wasn't much of an impact in the NBA, but
Tough to play that game without 2 feet.
I think he would have been a stud. He moved well. He was big. Jumper wasn't there, but bigs weren't stepping out and shooting threes really at that time.
Right.
So yeah, give me Greg Oden.
All right.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to follow that suit of someone who probably didn't have great feet, Trent, and go Bill Walton.
Yeah.
Bill.
I think he broke his foot after or even the year he won the NBA Player of the Year.
Okay.
And then sat out the following year because he actually broke the foot twice. I think he tried to play on it in that finals. And then it was never really the same. And it was a dominant college player.
Maybe one of the best college players of all time.
Yes. And then obviously the NBA MVP. And to add to that, had he stayed healthy, what type of career would he have had?
Yeah, good. Good one. I got so many guys on my list yet. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Ken Griffey Jr. And some people might argue, well, that he still ended up having a long career, which he did, but I don't think he had the kind of, and he's still a Hall of Famer, still hit well over 600 home runs. But I think had he not had injuries, we would be talking about him as a clear best player of all time.
Think he's a steroid guy or no?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean,
I agree with you. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was. I've never once have I heard his name pop up as people wondering. His body, I mean, his body type changed slowly over the years, but I think that was just natural weight. It wasn't like all of a sudden he got ripped or
Like Barry Bonds.
Yeah, I had this huge head like Barry Bonds,
Mark McGuire and
or Sammy Sosa.
Man,
Yeah.
those dudes just blew up. It's good with Ken Griffey. I like it.
And another baseball player who I think would have, been one of the greats of all time. Ken Griffey Jr. ended up playing several years with the Cincinnati Reds. This guy also was a Cincinnati Red World Series champion in 1990. I think he was a rookie in 1985 and had four really great seasons. That's Eric Davis. And then even during that 1990 season when they won the World Series, the injuries started, and his career basically after 1990, after he won the World Series, just wasn't the same. Played a little bit for the Tigers, a little bit for the Dodgers, I think. But that guy was a what they call a five-tool player. Hit for average, hit for power, speed, um, throw, yeah, great arm, great defensive player, center fielder. So, and my favorite player of all time. So, Eric Davis was one I had. What are some other ones you guys had?
Well, now that you were talking about baseball, I had Zumaya,
Yes, I
Tigers closer.
got him on my list too.
He
Yeah.
was throwing gas, and then all of a sudden just fell off the face of the earth. But the rumor was that he hurt himself playing Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was ever true or not, but I don't know how that rumor got spread. But yeah, what was it, Joel? Was it Joel?
Yeah, Joel Zumaya.
Joel
Throwing
Zumaya.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he was throwing like 104, just throwing gas.
No, that's a very good one.
Another one I had was Yao Ming. He battled some injury through his career. Granted, he was 7'6",
Yeah.
so that'd take a toll on your body. And then the last one I had, who's a current player, is Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Good one.
Dominant player, never plays.
Current player I had on my list is Zion Williamson.
That's fair.
I mean, if he can stay healthy, he's still young, where he could still end up having a really great career. But
That's a good one.
so far, ugh.
Tracy McGrady.
Yep.
You throw him in that list. He was kind of an Anthony Hardaway type.
Yeah, T-Mac was good.
Yeah.
I remember the highlight where he scored like 13 points in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That was an incredible stretch of like, I don't know, he's like three, just steal three, just one after another.
That was insane. I got a couple of Duke point guards, Jay Williams, Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, Jay Will never really played in the NBA, did he?
No, he got in a motorcycle accident.
That's right.
Hurley got in an accident too, right?
Really bad car accident.
Yeah.
And he did try
I don't know if he would have ever made it in the pros, but
Yeah, that's the thing. I was thinking that too. I don't know if he was really an NBA, would have had a good career.
yeah,
But he got
maybe
in
might
that
have managed
car.
a backup career or something like that. Never know.
Yeah, but he got in that car accident so early in his career that we never really got to find out.
Yeah. I'm not a baseball guy, but maybe you guys are. Kerry Wood, Mark Pryor,
I
Cubs.
Yeah, Cubbies.
I had both of them on my list. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, good ones.
Gary Wood. He was good.
Yeah. And at least he could still, he was still able to transition to a closer.
Yes, yeah. He still had a long career, but maybe not. Might have been what might have been.
Right.
Could have been.
I mean, he was a threat to strike out 20 every night as a starter.
Yeah.
True. Are we able to throw Shohei Ohtani in there as current player who might just be hurt all the time? And I don't know, because he came in the league as a pitcher and a really good hitter.
Yeah.
I don't even know what position he plays. Outfield maybe, but now it's like no pitching, just hitting.
Yeah. But didn't he win the MVP last year?
Yeah, he rakes. Yeah, he rakes. But what if it's like one more Tommy John away from his arm falling off?
Yeah, I wouldn't. He should be healthy enough now to pitch this year. I don't know if he will.
Yeah.
And a lot of times after Tommy John, pitchers actually come back stronger. So,
yeah.
But they might not want to risk it. That's a lot to risk.
It's $400 million.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned all the guys I have on my list whose injuries were cut short due to injury. I do got 3 NFL players who I feel like cut their injury or their career short because of an early retirement.
Oh,
Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson, yes. Barry
Sanders.
Luke Kuechly.
So I had Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, and Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Luck.
Yeah.
That was an odd one. What was his reasoning?
Just wanted to retire.
Just was over it.
Yeah. And
Man,
I'll
he was-
never
he was
forget,
good.
we were having our fantasy football draft on a Friday night, and we were watching. We had the Colts preseason game on in the background. Somebody had drafted Andrew Luck, and later on during that game, the news had broke that he was retiring.
Oh, ouch. Ouch.
During the draft.
And you know what's funny about that is we normally do our fantasy draft the Friday night of Labor Day weekend. But Peter, who's on our NFL pick show, he prop bet Pete, he was going to a Dave Matthews Band concert that night. So we actually moved the draft a 1 week earlier on a Friday night. Had we done the draft on the normal night that we've done for 20 plus years, Andrew Luck would have already been retired, and poor Mark in our league would not have drafted Andrew Luck.
That's a tough draft pick.
Oh yeah. So that's still an ongoing joke in our league. Making fun of Pete for changing our draft date and making it work for being
It would have been better if he drafted Andrew Luck as well. And then he would have been stuck
right.
for some Dave Matthews.
All right. I don't have anybody else on my list. I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there. I was looking up guys. I mean, Gale Sayers, but that was way before my time.
What about a little Len Bias?
Oh, yes.
Never know what would have become there.
Yes. Good one. That's a
Drug
really,
overdose,
really
right?
good. What's that?
Drug overdose.
Yeah. The night
That was this.
of or the next day after he got drafted. Might have been the
I think
night
it might have been the night of.
Yeah.
Really?
Found out the next day, yeah. Top pick by
number
the Boston
one pick.
Celtic. Yeah,
Yeah.
number one pick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cocaine
How
over.
about Arvydas My Sabonis? Or not your Sabonis.
Yes.
He still had a nice long career, obviously overseas, and then tried to come in the NBA late, but injuries, by the time we got to saw him,
Yeah.
or see him play,
Yeah.
he was kind of like half of what he was probably. So,
Still, he was a lot of fun to watch.
oh, he was awesome to watch.
Yeah. What was it? It was not your Vetus,
Yes.
but our Vetus. So,
Yes, that's what it was. Thank you. I couldn't remember what the hell it was.
and that was Craig Kilborn on Sports Center on ESPN when ESPN used to be good. Perfect example.
Shout out to ESPN.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there we're missing.
No, I think we might have hit them all, Kurt.
I'm sure there's plenty other guys that careers got
Well, I'm sure.
short because of drugs or
A couple hockey guys, a couple.
yeah.
Sure, we're missing a couple football guys.
All right, fellas. We'll be back Thursday. Anything else you got before we wrap it up?
Nope.
All right.
Yep.
All right. We will see you all again on Thursday.
Peace.